Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. I'm sure a lot of you guys that are Hims and Hers shareholders are doing well after yesterday's jump in the share price. So today we're going to take a look at why Hims and Hers exploded yesterday. But overall, what a cracking day. Obviously, we're going to talk about Hims and Hers today. Was up 16% yesterday, which is a pretty incredible move. AMD as well was up a whopping 9% as well yesterday after they signed a major deal as well. And I saw this on X, which was this post from someone called Daniel. And he said, how it feels to have AMD and Hims and Hers as your top two holdings. And I'm thinking, this guy must be a viewer of the JKR investing channel, because that was my exact feeling yesterday as I was looking at the portfolio and seeing my top two positions. AMD and Hims and Hers absolutely flying that much. I think the portfolio was up like 4% yesterday, which is incredible. Like, that is nearly that half of the average return of the S&P 500 in one day. So yeah, really good moves from Hims and Hers and AMD. So hopefully some of you guys as well are shareholders of them and had a cracking day yesterday as well. But we're not going to talk about AMD today. We've talked about that one for recently. We're going to talk about Hims and Hers and what is going on with this stock and why it's up 16%. Now, I did actually put a post on X as well yesterday about Hims and Hers, which is a couple of points that I would like to make before we do get onto the move, which is I posted this as the original Hims and Hers YouTuber OG. To see Hims and Hers go from $3 to $62 reminds me of a few things, and I gotta say it's incredible. I like the coverage that happens now of Hims and Hers. Like, when I first started covering Hims and Hers, I never thought it would be this stock. Like, it's such a popular stock on YouTube and X. There's so many people covering it now, and I hardly cover the stock anymore now because of that. I remember, it reminds me of the days of Tesla. I remember buying Tesla in 2018, and I remember not really having that much coverage on YouTube. And then by the time we got to 2020, boom, everybody was kind of covering it here. But it's just incredible, isn't it? It's just to think like that stock was only, 3 years ago now, a $3 stock, and now it's a $62 stock. It's crazy how things can change so quickly in the stock market. But the first thing was, you can make life-changing money in the stock market. That is a key thing. I think that is one of the big things that you got to remember when you're doing the stock market business, is that there's nothing out there. Especially, so many people talk about, index investing, which is great, and a lot of people should do index investing. But don't be scared to try your hand in individual stock picking, because if you do get it right, the money that you can make is pretty incredible. Like, to go from $3 to $62, you 20x'd your money in that time frame. And even if you were putting I don't know, like, let's say just say £1,000 into this stock and thought, yeah, looks all right, I'm not gonna risk everything here, but £1,000 is a significant money to me, and then you get a 20x return from that point of view. It's not too bad at all, is it? You can make really good money if you are getting those sort of returns, and you only need one of them. One of those incredible stocks can set you up for a long time, and also take you on the next step to the stock market investing game as well. And that one stock can also help you massively outperform the indexes, which is incredible. And obviously that's been one of the Hims and Hers has certainly been one of the stocks that have helped me beat the stock market over these last few years. The other thing is, follow the financials when there's the most noise, not the negativity. That's the key thing. I remember when I was posting videos about Hims and Hers, which seems a while ago now, about when it was at $3. And I remember making the video about Hims and Hers, and the comment section was negative on Hims and Hers. Now, that sounds incredible today at $3, but I was posting videos about Hims and Hers, and I would say the majority, over 50%, and I would even go higher to 60-70%, of the comment section when I was posting videos about Hims and Hers were negative on it. People were talking trash about Hims and Hers at $3, which seems incredible now, but that was the case. That's where the famous line that I did, and I did the poster of there was a guy called Andy Pickering, and he posted a famous quote that said, "Hims and Hers is uninvestable at $3," and that stuck with me. Like, wow, I can't believe you're making a statement like that. And I was looking at the time when all this negativity was going on. Like, I was looking at Hims and Hers, and what I was seeing is the revenue growth all going up in the right direction, the profit going up in the right direction, and yet the share price kept going down. And they were coming out with these earnings reports that were incredible. And I was just staring there, and I was thinking, this is incredible. Like, this is a great opportunity. But what happened is that it was during a stock market crash. So, and the last point here was stock crashes are the best time to make money. And that was the case massively. Like, I know people say it all the time, but the reason why Hims and Hers managed to get to $3 is because they were in a stock crash at the time in 2022. And that's why it just came so incredible value. I mean, don't get me wrong, if you're still buying $6, $7, $8, $9, $10, you still make good money on it. But it just got to so low valuations because of that stock market crash situation, basically. And the thing as well is, like, what happens when we have these stock market crashes is that everyone goes around and says, oh yeah, next time I'm going through a stock market crash, I'm going to be buying all the time. But, the amount of people that actually follow through with that, there's not many. A few people might have started doing Hims and Hers when it got to $8, $6, $7, $6, $5. But by then they're packing, and then they don't buy it at $4 or $3, and I think it even maybe touched $2 at one point. Those are the best times to make money. Anyway, let's get on to today's video. Why is Hims and Hers flying overall? So they actually posted a press release here, which is that they have launched their menopause treatment, which is going to take them to the next step of 1 billion of Hers revenue in 2026. So this isn't really anything new because we know that they are going to be launching into this space for a while. Maybe the market said, oh, you know what, the Hers part of the platform has fallen behind the Hims a little bit. But the fact that they think that next year they can get 1 billion of revenue from that part of the business, obviously that would be pretty good. They currently make 2 billion of revenue, so that would be a really nice increase if they were able to get to that point of view. So maybe they're liking the guidance because of this. But what I think is the big thing here is that I think people are starting to realize, once again, there's been so much talk about the GLP-1 stuff that people forget like what Hims and Hers is. And Hims and Hers is a platform that is convenient, easy to use, cheap fees, and all this care on one platform, and disrupting the healthcare space. And every time they launch into these new products, like they have done here, these TAMs that they're going in is like, I think it's like a 20. I thought I had it up, but I must have got rid of it. But these TAMs are going in are like 20 billion market cap TAMs. So imagine like Hims and Hers are able to take, I don't know, 3% of the market of that, of the total addressable market there. 3%, which is probably achievable. You're talking like 600 million in revenue. And the thing is that 600 million in revenue is, nearly a third of the company's revenue from one TAM that they enter. And the thing is that when Hims and Hers launch in these TAMs, they normally do very well. But this is only one. Like, you imagine the amount of medical care needs in the whole world. There's thousands. So if you're launching and you take like 2-3% in these TAMs, and you're very successful every time you launch them, those 2-3% in these billion market TAMs very, very quickly add up. And obviously they're thinking right here that if they take 2-3% of the market, then obviously the revenue performance would be absolutely amazing. And I think what people are realizing here is that that is the case a little bit today. The other big case that's going on as well with Hims and Hers, which is pretty incredible, I don't think I've ever seen this before in the time that I've been investing over these last 8 or 9 years. But Hims and Hers is one of the most shorted stocks on the stock market. If you look at the short interest right now, it's nearly the highest it's ever been right now, which is incredible because you look at what Hims and Hers have done over the last few years, and the revenue growth has absolutely exploded. The profitability has exploded. We've gone from a company that is from, let's go from 5 years ago, was a company doing 12 million in revenue, is now doing 2 billion in revenue. That's incredible. I don't think I've ever seen a performance like that before. You're looking at a company here that was doing 18 million in loss making, is now 193 million in profit making. And the future just looks as good as the past, which is great. When you look at the balance sheet, okay, is there a concern around the balance sheet at the moment? And not really. So this is something that you don't normally see from a stock that has performed so amazing, is the shorts continue to hold and even increase the position on a stock like this. And what happened yesterday is you had some positive news that came out, which probably would have been like a 3-4% jump. But because the stock has already been on a pretty decent run in the last few weeks, if you look from August, the stock was having a bit of a pullback down to $44. But the shorts have been squeezed and squeezed and squeezed and squeezed, and now they've been squeezed up 51%. And that snowball of like the stock is up 4, 5, 6%. All these shorts now are having to buy in this stock because of the short squeeze that are going on at the moment, and that's why you've seen the stock jump so much on what has been decent news. But it certainly yesterday wasn't a 16% jump in the stock, if we're being honest. But because there's all these shorts playing this game, they're all got caught up on it, and that's why you're having this sort of short squeeze going on at the moment. And I'm surprised that these shorts haven't been squeezed more than what they have done. You know, I'm looking at the amount of interest that's on here on Hims and Hers. I mean, imagine what would happen if there was some sort of rumor about a takeout, that they were going to get taken over, or if they come out with an absolute game changer earnings, or someone like, I don't know, let's say that Novo Nordisk take like a 10% stake in Hims and Hers, which with the drama that's gone on between them two in the last few years, I don't know if that would happen. But or Eli Lilly, imagine how much those shorts would get squeezed on that situation. You'd see Hims and Hers really shoot up if that was to happen. But you look at Hims and Hers, and this really surprised me. Look at the most shorted stocks on the stock market, and I was actually quite surprised to see Zeta at number 1. To be fair, that actually looks a pretty decent company, and it's up there that much. Sleep Number, I remember that one from a few years ago. To be fair, but it's currently sitting at number 6. Now, just to show you, I've not researched this, so hopefully it doesn't go wrong. But if we look at for example, the one that's above it. Right now, which actually, to be fair, it's only a 26 million market cap, so definitely a lot smaller than Hims and Hers. But if we have a look at this Sonnet company here, and if you compare it to the financials of what normally is a stock that is that highly shorted, and look at what they're doing, for example. Okay, there's no future growth here. I told you I hadn't researched it. Let's go on past performance. There we go. So we've got past performance. We've got past performance. So look at the past performance, for example, of like a stock that's normally shorted this much. So you got a company here that is making 1 million of revenue on a 29 million market cap. And previously they've made about 55,000. And they're currently losing 13 million a year on a 29 million market cap. So they lose half the market cap every year. I mean, these guys are on the verge of going probably bankrupt in like the next, anytime soon. So you're talking like Hims and Hers is getting shorted to the same levels of the company that's about to go bankrupt in the next 12 months. And that's what's going on with Hims and Hers at the moment. And it shouldn't be happening. It should not be happening on a company that has done this financial, has a strong balance sheet, has this ability to enter these TAMs that are multi-billion TAMs that, with a snap of the fingers can generate really good amounts of, money for them. And yet the shorts are playing this game with them. Like I would not be surprised to see the day where if shorts keep doing this, and like I said, it wouldn't take something massive, but like a pretty decent positive news story comes out. Imagine what these shorts are going to get squeezed to. Like, forget saying like $70. We'd be talking like $80, $90, $100, which I don't know if that's going to happen, and that's not what I invest in a stock for, but it's something to consider. Overall, like, I'm really happy with Hims and Hers. I think the stock overall, I'm really excited about the future. That's why I continue to hold a lot of shares in the business. I do think the stock overall is certainly a fair valuation right now. So I'm not like as bullish as I was when Hims and Hers was $5, $10, $15, or even when we started to have that pullback only this year. Hims and Hers was actually $27 this year. I thought $27 actually wasn't. That was actually pretty good value for it, actually, to be fair. I think it's very fairly valued now, and I will continue to hold the shares as they continue to expand into these TAMs. But certainly fair value. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if this stock was to go, have an even bigger jump while the shorts are playing this really risky game. So, we'll see what happens there overall. But congratulations to all you Hims and Hers shareholders, and as well as that AMD as well, having a really cracking day that we didn't really touch on there, but another really good day. So hopefully you guys had a good day as well. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a bit.